Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome to Geisen Gymnasium for the first game after the winter break with students back on campus for the Concordia Chicago Cougars. I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network. Joining me today is Eric Carey, and we're here for a home matchup for CUC taking on the visiting Benedictine University Eagles. Both of these teams that have had even starts to their conference seasons, and on the Cougars end, it's been a good stretch for them coming off of a tight game back and forth between Aurora this past weekend. Cougars coming out on top 67-64, withstanding a late charge from Aurora, but there were a couple players that stood out from that game. As per usual, Cougars, Jacob Collicott leading the charge, 21 points, leading the team in assists, rebounds once again. But Eric, that wasn't really the most interesting performance to come out of this last game for CUC.
No, Jonathan, one of the players that stood out to me right at the end was Aaron Brown. He only played 19 minutes, which is less than half the game, but he had 11 points, 5 field goals, 1 free throw, and a lot of those came right near the end of the game, and those helped to keep Aurora at bay and to make sure that Concordia could withstand Aurora's late push right at the end.
Exactly, and for a team with CUC, you have a big star in Jacob Collicott. They have a great core of players around. But you can see some of those high-efficiency performances out of your bench players as this season goes on. Could be big for the Cougars. On the flip side of things, though, the Benedictine Eagles, same result as the Cougars their last time out, except for Benny, it was a 67-64 loss at home against Rockford University. Benedictine keeping it close, not being able to get the dub, dropping to 2-3 in conference, and the same thing as usual for that team as well. Tanner Resch leading the team in 17 points once again.
Yeah, he is their star player. He leads the team in points, leads the team in rebounds. If he can keep playing at a high standard, then they'll be good.
Absolutely. Resch, as you mentioned, Eric, he's led this team. Leads the team in points per game, leads the team in minutes per game. He's out there and he plays at a faster pace than most of those players as well. This is a Benny team that they play a bit slow, they keep the ball safe, but Tanner Resch, he's able to push that scoring, push the score up a bit, which is good for a team like Benny that can struggle to score at times throughout this season. But looking on to today, both these teams about middle of conference standing so far in the early going. It's Cougars 3-3, Benny 2-3. Both looking up to pick up what would be a relatively big win at this point in the season, sort of stay competitive in that top half of the conference. What do you think the Cougars have to do to get that win done, Eric?
I think what the Cougars have to do is they just have to keep playing their just run-and-gun style offense. If they can keep the speed up, a speed that Benny does not play, with the exception of Red, if they can keep that up and turn this into essentially a track meet, then they should be able to create lots of opportunities to hit their shots, and that should allow them to hopefully pull away from Benny.
Absolutely, that tends to be a common key of the game, a common goal for this Cougars team. For me, going into this game, I think the Cougars need to really focus on the perimeter defense against Benedictine. The Eagles struggle from three, shooting nearly 20% from beyond the arc, one of the worst in the conference. Last game out against Rockford, though, the Eagles did manage to shoot 40% from three. That allowed them to stay in it. If the Cougars can play strong perimeter D, force Benedictine to take bad shots from three, not make those three-pointers, that'll allow the Cougars defense to set up their offense nicely for this game. But before we get ready to go tonight, a little history in the matchup between these two squads. A lot of decent length of history between Benedictine and Cougars, storied rivalry in a lot of sports. In basketball, it has been a dominant one-sided rivalry. Benedictine leads it with 36 wins to the Cougars 8. And despite dominating in the long run, the last 2 years it has been all Cougars. Both of those games down in Lisle, and the Cougars winning both of them last year, January 6th. About this time in 2024, the Cougars winning 93-78 over Benedictine. And the Cougars looking to extend that win streak over Benedictine, looking to extend what's been an undefeated win streak at home this season today against Benedictine. The Eagles looking to come off a 3-game losing streak and get back into the winning column here in Geisman Gymnasium. That is coming up shortly in just a few minutes here on the Cougars Sports Network. So make sure to stay with us. Cougars and the Eagles prepping up and getting ready to go for their first game following the winter break. Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome to Geisman Gymnasium here on Wednesday, January 8th for an evening conference matchup between the Concordia Chicago Cougars and the Benedictine Eagles. First game back on campus since the winter break for the Cougars with students. And you can see that student section already filling up as we get ready for tip-off here. Both teams have played the national anthem. Their starters are out on the court, and starting on the court for Benedictine today, it's number 1, Brandon McCoy, number 2, Tanner Resch, number 11, Noah Mason, number 23, Nathan LaPlante, number 24, Patrick Mayfield on the Cougars, and it's again that same core: Darian Williams, Jacob Collicott, Sean Beckman, and Joel Watts, with Riker Johnson picking up that 5th spot. Out there, you see Mason and Collicott at the tip. Ball's up, and that's won by Mason. So Benedictine will take the ball down the court, and it's their leading player, Tanner Resch, who swings it over to Mason.
Yeah, Tanner Resch is their lead scorer. He makes everything happen. Most of the offense and a good chunk of the defense pretty much runs through him.
Now Resch is going to slash middle, set back, play into the contact, and that's going to be a loose ball out towards the corner. Mason having to bobble around. He'll put up a 3, and that will go off the back of the rim. Watts will pick up the rebound. And the Cougars, they love to play fast-paced. Watts gets that ball down the court quickly.
Yeah, Concordia's speed is run and gun as opposed to Benedictine's more slow-paced, methodical approach.
Now Johnson swings that into Collicott. Collicott driving baseline. He goes up for a shot off the backboard and in. Jacob Collicott, 21.5 points per game, leading the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference. And there's his first 2 of the night. Cougars on the board 2-0.
Yeah, Collicott plays a lot of time a game.
And Tanner Resch driving, able to draw the foul. Darian Williams getting in the way. That's something you're going to see a lot of tonight from both teams. Tanner Resch, second most free throws made in the conference. He loves the charity stripe. You know who else does? Jacob Collicott from the Cougars, most free throws made on the season. Resch putting up 2, will have a chance to take that conference lead here.
Yeah, Resch and Collicott are really neck for neck in a lot of the main categories, free throws being one of them. So this game might come down to which one of them can just drive and get the fouls easier.
Resch makes the first. There's the second. It's up and good. Tanner Resch evens up the score 2-2, and Collicott will take it down now for CUC. Toss over to Watts. Benedictine starting out with a press defense. Johnson getting swarmed on the near sideline. Barely able to keep possession. Puts it in the paint to Sean Beckman, who has to hook it up, and that'll be no good. Mason picks up the rebound, and he's driving quickly into the paint, and that's going to be a block. Should be tagged to Jacob Collicott. That'll go out of bounds. That'll be Benedictine's ball. Mason saw an open line, tried to drive it. That is match.
And that's something that Collicott's good at. He is a good defensive player along with being the leading Concordia offensive player.
And Patrick Mayfield puts up his first shot of the night and gives Benny an early lead. That's something you didn't see out of the Eagles much their last matchup. Patrick Mayfield, quiet night. Only 10 points, poor shooting from the field.
Yeah, if he can bounce back from that last game, then the combo of him and Resch can definitely cause the Cougars to have some problems.
Joel Watts able to draw the foul, first foul charge to Benedictine of the night. Watts swings it down to Johnson. Beckman in the paint, swings it back out to Willard. Willard, spin move in the paint and puts it up for 2. A.J. Willard, a player who's come on big this season for the Cougars, evens this matchup right back up. Mayfield from range off the back of the rim. Mayfield was 0 for 3 from 3. Now here's another shot from 3. That one off the back of the rim from Brandon McCoy.
It's interesting. Benedictine's not a great three-point shooting team, and they've already taken 3 from behind the arc so far tonight.
Now Benedictine forcing a quick turnover, and that's going to be charged as a steal, as a foul on Jacob Collicott. They're going to call a slap. And that's going to be a shooting foul, it appears to be charged as. So McCoy will get 2 shots at the line.
And if there's someone the Cougars can't afford to get in foul trouble, it's Collicott. He plays 35 minutes a game. He is most of their offense, so if he gets in foul trouble, that could cause issues later in the game.
McCoy makes his first, puts up the second, and that makes it a 6-4 game. And Cougars another opportunity to take it down the court. Johnson swings it back over to Watts. And Beckman, Johnson driving, going into double coverage. That's a shot, and that will go out of bounds. Johnson unable to dive and save it, so possession straight back over to the Eagles. And the Eagles doing a good job of forcing the Cougars into some tough shots as the Cougars try and swing around, create those openings.
Yeah, they've done a good job so far of kind of slowing down the Concordia offense and making it less of a race.
There is another layup for Tanner Resch, driving in mostly uncontested through the lane. Collicott trying to respond, driving into the paint. He draws his first foul of the night, so he'll head to the free throw line for a chance to put up 2.
Like you said earlier, one of those things that Collicott's good at is driving the lane and drawing fouls, so he's looking to do more of that tonight.
First shot is no good, and that's something we'll see on the stats for Jacob Collicott. He attempts more free throws than anyone in the conference. He makes more than almost anyone in the conference, except the free throw percentage isn't at the top of the conference. Makes 1 of 2 on that trip, brings the Cougars within 3. Resch will take it down the court once again. Cougars electing to sit back and play secure defense. That's a deep shot from LaPlante, and it's good. Nathan LaPlante with a 3 ball, and that gives the Eagles a 6-point lead. And Collicott loses the ball. Resch driving into the paint, swings it over to McCoy. Another 2 for Brandon McCoy, and that's going to force the first timeout of the night from Rashawn Searles. A 5-point run in under 20 seconds from Benedictine. The Cougars starting to slide a bit, and Coach Searles electing to call a timeout and try and let the Cougars reset as they're already in an early 8-point deficit.
Yeah, it looks like for a sec that Benedictine surprised Concordia. They're normally a slow-paced team, but for that last little span, they just turned on the Jets and started playing Concordia's game, and now it's got an 8-point lead and forcing Coach Searles to call a timeout less than 4 minutes into the game.
And the problem you're seeing so far for the Cougars is they are turning the ball over, but they've been unable to force turnovers from Benedictine. And those are turnovers that Benedictine's getting points off of, the Cougars aren't. And that's where you see a lot of this 8-point deficit already.
Yeah, and Benedictine they don't cause many turnovers a game, but they also very rarely turn the ball over.
Beckman around the perimeter, swings it over to Willard. Willard over to Collicott. He'll put up a 3, and that'll be no good off the side rim. Rebounded by LaPlante.
And Concordia is not a terrible three-point shooting team. They shoot 30%, which is in the higher half of the conference, but they are a very streaky team, and when the shots aren't falling, they're not falling.
Now Mayfield from 3, no good off the back of the rim again. Watts trying to take the fast break. It's one-on-one with Resch. He puts that up, no good. Great D from Tanner Resch. He tries to force the pace, and he's slowed up by Riker Johnson. Mayfield bringing it back up top, matching up with A.J. Willard. Now Resch sees a lane into the paint, stops, pull-up jumper, no good off the front of the rim. Beckman with the rebound. Cougars still down by 8. Beckman swings it over to Willard, who tries to drive. Now Johnson from the corner, no good. Mayfield able to tip that over to LaPlante for another rebound. The Cougars slumping 0 for 4 on their last 4 attempts, and no field goals made in the last 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The Cougars are struggling On the offensive side of the court, Nathan LaPlante, his second free attempt of the night. That one no good, but it goes out of bounds off of the combo. Joel Watts and Jacob Kolakot. And look out there, Jacob Kolakot is already very tired, and the Cougars don't have much to show for it so far. 5 points in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and Benedictine's got that 8-point lead, so they seem content to take some slightly contested, iffy 3-point shots and not worry super much about the outcome.
Now Resch slowly taking it on the near corner, swings it over to Mayfield. Mayfield, set back three is good. Nothing but net for the big man. And tack another three on. It's an 11-point lead early now for Benedictine. Willard spinning into the paint. That's a steal for Tanner Resch. Mayfield driving down the court quickly. Tries to swing it into Aiden Worth, and Worth no good on the shot. Now Watts running down the court. Baseline pass into
That might be what Concordia has to do here. They might have to drive and just try to force the Benedictine players to make contact so that they can try to claw their way back into this game.
As Aaron Brown at the line now for the Cougars. The problem even with that, though, is the Cougars simply on the game have not been getting as many shot attempts off as Benedictine is. The shooting percentage isn't that much better on Benedictine's side. It's better. It's not, whoa, blow your socks off, 11 points better. No. It is better, though. The difference, though, is those attempts. 12 field goal attempts to the Cougars, 7. CUC's not creating those shot opportunities. They're losing the ball, and that's what's causing this problem. Brown misses his first free throw, puts up the second, and that is good. So that ends a 2.5-minute scoring drought for CUC. They still trail by 10. Tanner Resch will be content to slowly move down the court this time.
Yeah, Aaron Brown really stepped up in the last few minutes of the Aurora game this past Saturday. So Concordia is hoping that he can continue to do that this game and right now get Concordia back in it.
Now Worth posting up on Elijah Brown successfully. First points of the game for Aiden Worth makes it 18-6, 12-point lead back on Benny's side. And Talis Lowry trying to slash in, trying to swing a pass to Elijah White is tipped out of bounds. So that'll be a ball Concordia. Lowry himself will head down to inbound it. It's a high pass out to Elijah White. Tries to immediately swing it into Brown. Brown driving in, tries to lay that one up. No good again. That rebound by Brett Meyer.
And the shots just aren't falling for Concordia. That makes them 2 for 8 on the night, 25%. They're just getting nothing offensively 7 minutes into the game so far.
Aiden Worth again posting up on Elijah White. He wins that again. Aiden Worth having himself a good couple of minutes early on in this matchup. Now a 14-point lead for Benedictine. The Cougars, 4.5 minutes, not a single field goal made. They're not getting good shot attempts, and the ones they put up, they aren't making.
Yeah, the ones they put up are either contested or difficult shots.
Aaron Brown splashes that one from the mid-range. So the Cougars break that drought back down to a 12-point deficit.
And Benedictine's playing their slow, methodical approach to the game.
And that's another three from Patrick Mayfield. Third three-pointer made of the night for this squad. Mayfield's second. Now Williams in a loose ball fight down on the floor, and that'll get called what should be jump ball, possession Cougars. And so you see another line of subs out of the game are A.J. Willard and Elijah White into the game. Carter Langendorf and Honore Youngwa.
You talked earlier about how it's not the Benedictine's making more of their shots. It's more that they're able to take more, but they've hit 4 of their last 4 shots from the field, so their percentage rate is climbing higher little by little.
Now Lowry flashing up the middle, stops, puts that jumper up, and a couple passes around off the rim and in. Talis Lowry, his first points of the night. Cougars bring that to a 13-point gap. Benedictine now coming down the court, 4 for the last 4. Tanner Resch drops that back to Nathan LaPlante. Back over to Resch. Resch trying to take Lowry one-on-one. Step back, no good. Collicott in for the rebound. Quickly down the court is Tallis Lowry. McCoy pressing on Lowry. Now Yongwa driving into the paint, spinning, draws the foul. That one will be tagged on Noah Mason. And that'll send Honore Yongwa to the line for the first time tonight.
And Concordia is just going to have to try to rely on driving the paint and getting shots like those, getting some and ones in order to help pull away, get this game closer.
There's a couple problems with that so far, Eric. One of those you've seen, the Cougars haven't had a player make both free throw attempts so far. That's not great. The other thing is, you talk about and ones, but those are far from high percentage shots that the Cougars are taking so far. That's been the problem, is the shots they're getting aren't good shots. They're forcing drives into the lane. They're not creating easy open shots. That's the problem. That's what Benedictine is doing very well so far. As there's a loose ball. Mason able to pick it up. Now trying to take advantage of the chaos. McCoy, 3, up, and no good. Short off the front of the rim. Brandon McCoy had all day, unable to do anything with it. Now Tallis Lowry driving in, and now Lowry will draw the foul. That one will be tagged on Tanner Resch. Resch's first of the night.
Yeah, and you mentioned free throw shooting. Concordia had some trouble with that at the beginning of the year. They were shooting sub 50% as a team, but in the last few games they've been able to pull that percentage upwards. It's shooting about 65% now.
Lowry puts that one up, and that's good. First free throw made for Tallis Lowry, his second trip to the charity stripe tonight. And number 2 is no good off the front of the rim, so the Cougars yet to have a player go 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Remains an 11-point game. And when you're down by double digits like this early in the game, you need your players to hit from the charity stripe. McCoy no good from 3 there. Collicott trying to rush it down to Brown. Brown not expecting it, not running fast enough for it. And you see a bit of that press starting to set in for CUC, trying to, again, force passes, force opportunities that aren't really there. And it's another free possession for Benedictine. Tanner Resch taking his time with Tallis Lowry. Takes a pick from Nathan LaPlante, swings it over to McCoy. Now LaPlante, high arcing raindrop into the bucket. Nathan LaPlante, his second 3 ball of the night, makes it a 26-12 game. Benedictine dominating early on in this first half.
Concordia's only shot 2 threes, and they haven't hit either of them yet.
Now Aaron Brown no good off the backboard. Brandon McCoy facing pressure as he tries to get his up. He'll eventually swing it to Tanner Resch, who easily beats Honore Yongwa down court. And that'll be knocked out of bounds by Tallis Lowry. Possession, Benedictine. 4 3-pointers already on the night for Benedictine. Something that we were going to look out for coming into tonight is the 3-pointers made on average per game from these teams. The Cougars, they're the worst in the conference, just over 5 per game. Second worst in the conference, it's Benedictine, 5.5 per game. They've not been shooting at that clip tonight. 4 for 11 already on this game, as now Jacob Collicott will get tagged for the blocking foul, getting a little bit loose on the defense for the Cougars star.
And that's his second foul, a little over 10 minutes into the first half, so that's something that they've got to watch out for. They can't afford to let him get in foul trouble.
There's a steal from Carter Langendorf, one-on-one with LaPlante. No good, but Langendorf drops the foul. LaPlante's not happy about it, but Carter Langendorf will head to the line for the first time tonight. Another free throw trip for the Cougars. Both Benedictine and Concordia have made 4 free throws on the night. The Cougars have attempted double the free throws of Benedictine. Another area of discrepancy between these two squads.
And the trend of no Concordia player hitting both their free throws will continue for at least another shooter.
Langendorf going to try and make it 1 for 2 with this shot. And And that one no good off the front of the rim. Langendorf goes 0 for 2, still a 14-point game. When you're down by this much, free throws tend to not be enough to help you climb back into it, especially if you're not making them. Now Tanner Resch bringing it to the near side of the court, swings it over to Mayfield. Mayfield toying with Riker Johnson, slings it off to McCoy. Now Mayfield from 3, again no good off the back of the rim. That ball's batted out for McCoy. Mayfield again, a deep 3, no good off the front of the rim. Johnson gets up for the rebound. Watts pushing his speed down into the corner. Trying to make a choice on what to do here on Worth. Swings it out to Willard. Willard now driving in, spinning, layup no good. Johnson has it swiped out of his hands. Mayfield gets the rebound. Now Aiden Worth, easy drive into the lane. That one no good. Bit too much sauce on it. Here's a drive from Darian Williams. That'll draw a foul, and that's about all that's been going right for the Cougars is the ability to draw fouls. They haven't done anything with it. Nope. This one should be a bonus, so it'll be 1-1 for Darian Williams. I do believe this is Darian Williams' first trip to the line tonight.
Yes.
Williams, 2 stats on the stat sheet tonight. 1 personal foul, 1 assist, nothing else. And for a player who is one of your only players averaging more than 10 points per game, that's not a great start to the match. But he picks up his first there, so he'll get a second shot from the stripe. Sean Beckman and Honore Youngblood subbing in for Riker Johnson and Carter Langendorf.
And for a Concordia team that hasn't had any field goals in the last 2.5 minutes, they should be lucky. They should be happy. Benedictine's 1 for the last 7.
Darian Williams, 2 for 2, first Concordia player to do that from the free throw line tonight, and they're pressuring Tanner Resch here. But the Eagles able to beat that very effectively. Brett Meyer has some space, tosses that off to Resch. Now Worth sets up Resch from mid-range, swings it back over to Ryan Tucker. Resch, clock running down, tries to drive in. Mid-range floater is good. Tanner Resch wanted a foul too. Great job of draining that clock, putting up a shot and making it back to a 14-point game for this Benedictine squad. Now Joel Watts, 3-pointer, no good. Awkward shooting shot from Joel Watts. Seemed like he was planning on driving in, decided to take a 3 at the last second. No good. The score remains 14 for 28, going on 4 minutes without a field goal for the Cougars. Now Aiden Worth spinning on Sean Beckman. That one no good. Joel Watts bringing it down the court. He'll immediately drive it into the paint. Little deep with the ball, and that's a good layup for Joel Watts. Breaks that field goal streak, making it a 12-point match, and that prompts the first timeout of the night, a half timeout from Benedictine and head coach Jordan Townsend.
Yeah, Concordia finally able to make something happen there, make a bucket go in, break the 3-minute plus scoring drought, but still down 12, still are only shooting 50% from the free throw line. And the Benedictine defense has just been done a really good job of getting back after possessions and making it so that Concordia can't have fast breaks and 2-on-1s or 3-on-2s.
Benedictine, they've struggled in this last stretch. Cougars, so have they, but they're coming off of their first made field goal in over 4 minutes. And A.J. Willard pressuring Tanner Resch again. Resch swings that in to Nathan LaPlante. Noah Mason back to Meyer, over to LaPlante. Swings it down to Ryan Tucker. Tucker in the middle. Swings it to Meyer. Meyer driving down the baseline, and that's knocked out of bounds by the Cougars.
Benedictine's going to have a little bit over a catch and shoot here. They'll have 4 seconds to get it in and get a shot off at least the rim.
And it'll be Tanner Resch to inbound, tries and swings out to Noah Mason, spins around, puts it up, draws the foul. Great play from Noah Mason to put it up. Got Sean Beckman napping, as Beckman probably assumed Noah Mason. You have 4 seconds on the clock. You might take another dribble back or two. Noah Mason immediately turns around, puts it up, gets contact from Sean Beckman, and he'll have a chance to put up 2 shots. Makes the first of those. And that is Noah Mason's first trip to the line tonight.
Yeah. Pending this one, Benedictine still has yet to miss a free throw, although they've only shot 5 so far.
And another one from Noah Mason. 30 points on the night for Benedictine.
And this is a Benedictine team that's not a super high-powered offense, so 30 points this quickly is pretty big testament to how this game's gone for them so far.
Sean Beckman gets stolen on the baseline. Now Ryan Tucker from 3. That's a poor shot off the front of the rim. Darian Williams now 1 on 4, and he'll draw the foul. And you can't really get much more obvious about just driving for a foul than that. Darian Williams taking the 1-on-4 opportunity, draws the foul from Brandon McCoy, and he'll head to the line. Once again, Darian Williams 2 for 2 from the charity stripe tonight. First one's up. That one's good again. Cougars, after that, trail by 13. And they've been able to keep it relatively even after that early burst and domination for the first 10 minutes, but they haven't been able to close this gap at all. Darian Williams brings it to a 12-point deficit. Quick inbound to Tanner Resch. Oh, Mason, plenty of court on this side. Euro step in the paint, and he can't finish it. Now Darian Williams will have it on the far side, looking to bring it inside. Instead, he'll lay it off to Collicott. Thinks about a 3. Instead, he'll drive in on Mason. Lay off to Beckman. Mid-range jumper, no good. Rattles out of the hoop, and that'll be a rebound to Benedictine again. Nathan LaPlante going to drive down the baseline. Instead, he'll draw the foul, blocking on Sean Beckman. So that's a foul on the floor. Tanner Resch will inbound it for the Eagles. Out of the game goes Sean Beckman. Into the game, Aaron Brown on the Eagles end. Noah Brown heads out of the game for Brett Meyer. And Resch looking to just lob that over to Ryan Tucker.
And Benedictine's only 1 of their last 7 from the field, so the Cougars have managed to play a little bit more of a close defense.
And that loose ball on the ground, that'll be a jump ball. Cougars get possession, so scoreless possession on Benedictine's end. Darian Williams will inbound it to Tallis Lowry.
Concordia wants to have more of those type of possessions for Benedictine if they want to get this game back into the single digits and get themselves back in it.
Lowry in the paint, looking for an option. Gets it out to Jacob Collicott, who instead drive it out. Now back out to Darian Williams. Looks into the paint. Back out to Joel Watts. Corner 3 is good! Joel Watts, one of the Cougars' premier three-point shooters, bangs his first of the night. That makes it a 9-point game, 30-21. Now Benedictine trying to respond. Long corner 3 from Brandon McCoy, no good. Tanner Resch will now drive on Jacob Collicott. He'll put that one up, and he tries to swing it out to Meyer, and it's intercepted by Aaron Brown. Brown trying to drive, puts that one up, and he makes it. Aaron Brown through contact, makes the shot. And the Cougars 7-0 run in the last minute and a half. And they'll slow down a fast break. Darian Williams, bit of a careless foul on Tanner Resch in the corner, knocked him down. But the Cougars, that's kind of what they needed, momentum shifting. Benedictine hasn't scored in the last 2 minutes. They're 1 for 8 for their last 8 attempts. We've seen them struggle, but the Cougars yet to capitalize on it. Now they have. 3-on-2, LaPlante from the side, airballs the 3. Collicott with the rebound. Now Williams swings it over to Watts. And Joel Watts gets a bit careless on the steps. He'll get tagged for a travel, so the Cougars lose a promising possession.
And Benedictine started out pretty hot. They were taking a lot of shots and making a good chunk of them, and now one for the last 9. And since Concordia's got a 7-0 run, that once fairly decently sized Benedictine lead is now down to 7.
And McCoy has to work past Joel Watts to get out of the backcourt. Lays that one off to Worth. Worth working over towards Meyer. 3 from Meyer. Airballed again to Jacob Collicott. 2 airball attempts in a row for Benny. Darren Williams over to Collicott. Collicott looking to the paint. Swings it out to Lowry. Lowry, baseline drive. No good, but he draws the foul, and that'll send Tallis Lowry to the line for the second time tonight.
And Benedictine's taken a lot of threes. They started off pretty hot. They were 4 for 11. They've missed their last 6 three-point attempts to shooting 23% on the night so far.
And you hate to say it, a bit of return to form for Benedictine. This percentage is actually still higher than their season average. Tallis Lowry misses his first free throw attempt. We'll see what he does with his second here. A.J. Willard quickly subbing into the game for Darian Williams. A.J. Willard, speaking of threes, A.J. Willard does lead the Cougars in three-point percentage out of their major players, 38.9 on the season. Tallis Lowry rattles his second attempt, no good. So an unproductive trip to the charity stripe from Tallis Lowry.
Had a chance to cut the lead to 5, didn't pan out.
And a careless pass from Brett Meyer. Now the Cougars' chance to respond to A.J. Willard driving in. Swings it over to Lowry. Lowry driving in, draws the foul again. This time on Hudson Parker. That'll be a blocking on Parker. First time we've talked about him tonight as he is into the game. Number 3. So 3-on-3 violence. Tallis Lowry, he'll get another chance. 0 for 3 on his last three throw attempts. And that streak makes the first.
And Benedictine's been they were pretty safe with the ball to start this game, but the last few possessions they've had some careless passes, just some rush decision-making that's just ended up giving the ball right back to Concordia.
3 turnovers in the last 3 minutes on Benny's side as Lowry goes 2 for 2 on that trip. Now a 5-point deficit for CUC. This is the first stretch of game we've seen tonight where Tanner Resch is not in the game.
Yeah, he averages 33 minutes a game, so this must be a chunk of his 7 minutes where he won't be on the court.
Now Parker tosses that into Aiden Worth, and Worth will get tagged with a travel.
Another turnover for Benedictine.
Another turnover, 4th in the last 3.5 minutes. And that prompts a timeout out of head coach Jordan Townsend. And that's with that timeout, 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. We'll take a short break at the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment. And we're back here on the Cougar Sports Network. 3.5 minutes to go in the first half of action. Half that has been, for the most part, dominated by Benedictine. But the Cougars on a 9-0 run here in the last 3 minutes. A run that is going great for the Cougars and is going horribly for Benedictine. 4 turnovers in their last 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And that's led to an also 3-minute and 20-second scoring drought.
Yeah, and Benedictine, they're 1 for the last 10 from the field. They're just not making any shots fall, and this double-digit lead that they had has just evaporated.
Now A.J. Willard has it at the top of the key. Joel Watts swinging three off the back of the rim. Langendorf tries to tip it back up, no good. So Tanner Resch will bring it down court. Swings out over to Noah Mason. Mason driving, gets that up, and gets the shot off the backboard. So Noah Mason will end the streak for Benedictine. Cougars not happy about that. Noah Mason knocking the ball away from A.J. Willard as he tried to inbound it. 7-point difference now. A.J. Willard has it on the far side. He'll drive, swing it over to Lowry. Lowry into the paint, back to Langendorf. Langendorf driving, swings it out to Willard. Now Willard knocked away. Another drive from Lowry over to Watts, who will baseline drive. Double clutch and puts up the layup. Reverse under the rim. Joel Watts, his 7th point of the night.
Benedictine coach Jordan Townsend wanted a travel call on that, but it did not happen.
Three from McCoy, no good. Rebound, Jacob Collicott. Cougars trying to press the speed now. A.J. Willard into the paint on Aiden Worth. No good. Langendorf can't get the putback. Loose ball. Joel Watts able to get there. Now Willard, three is good. A.J. Willard knocks it in, and it's a 2-point game.
Concordia has turned this game around rapidly. Their shots are falling. They're making stops on defense. They've cut this lead down to 2 with less than 2 left in the first half.
Slow start for CUC. Benedictine trying to respond to this 14-2 run. Resch, mid-range jumper, airballed. And that knockback's going to go to Tallis Lowry. Cougars again trying to keep the speed up. Joel Watts, three is good, and the Cougars take the lead 33-32. And it's a 17-2 scoring run. The Cougars dominated early on. They trailed big early on. They now have the lead, and Benedictine struggling to respond.
Yeah, back-to-back 3 points. Back-to-back threes have given this Concordia, I believe, their first lead of the game.
Noah Mason from three. He responds and gives the Eagles the lead back, 35-33. A.J. Willard back to Joel Watts, going around the pick. Watts for three. He makes it, and he responds now. The Cougars take the lead back. It's 3 for 3 for 3 for 3 for 3 between these two squads. 35 seconds left in the half.
Now, last few.
Resch drives, gets that up into the hoop. Eagles take the lead back.
Yep.
So the Cougars, they'll have an opportunity to get the final shot of the half. And at the pace they're playing with, it looks like they will. Under 20 seconds to go. Joel Watts will draw the foul from Brandon McCoy.
Yeah, that Resch layup broke up the three-point party, but now Concordia's heading back to the line.
Joel Watts, an opportunity to give the Cougars the lead back. And we've talked about fouls so far tonight. That's Brandon McCoy's 2nd of the evening. And it will even up this game. Joel Watts makes the first. Now 37-37 is the score. Cougars make a couple final subs in the half. Watts, his 2nd free throw is good, so the Cougars have the lead back, 38-37.
And Watts is the leading scorer for Concordia so far with 38. Collicott, usually a big presence, the Concordia leading scorer. He's only got 3 points, and he's out of the game right now.
Now 5 seconds remaining. Noah Mason pump fakes a three, tries to swing it into the paint. That's a loose ball. McCoy, dying seconds. No good, off the rim. And in a half that it felt as if Benedictine dominated. We'll head into the locker room with the Cougars leading 38-37. A massive late push out of Concordia. And CUC, they'll have the lead headed out of the first half. Able to respond in the face of adversity and a slow start. So that's it for the first half of action here in Geisman Gymnasium. Benedictine trails by 1, 37-38. We'll be back in a few minutes for the second half of action here between Concordia Chicago and the Benedictine Eagles.
Hi, I'm Monica here at Concordia University Chicago, and we're here outside of Concordia Hall. Concordia Hall is the university's newest residence hall, right on the edge of campus, perfect for students who want to explore the nearby downtown of Oak Park and River Forest. The flexible suite-style living in fully furnished bedrooms lets students choose what works best for them. Every floor is complete with a community lounge and full common kitchen, with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, and refrigerator. The first floor offers the Victory Lounge, connecting to 2 additional residence halls, with no shortage of ways to relax. You're also right next to an open, outdoor plaza, better known as Victory Lane. So now we're here in Concordia Hall's suite-style dorm room, and this is a really nice place to just hang out and chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to spread out and do your homework and just relax. So now making our way into one of the bedrooms, there's plenty of space in this room for you and your roommate. A lot of times students will move the desks so that they've got their separate study space, but my roommate and I, we get along really well, so we can just work together here in the same space. Sometimes I like doing art as well, as you can see by the painting here. It's a 16 by 10 feet space, and most rooms on campus are 10 by 12 feet. So it's really nice to have a little extra space to work with here in Concordia Hall. So this hall is super close to the chapel and the Kennedy Community Center, which has the new Crossroads Dining Hall, so the location is super convenient. And I really love the city scene too. The location here is the closest on campus to the Oak Park River Forest downtown area, which has a ton of great stores and restaurants. Speaking of the city scene, I adore the view from this lounge because you can see the Chicago skyline right there. Concordia Hall at Concordia University Chicago.
Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium here on Wednesday night after a turbulent first half here at River Forest. We're going to the second half. The Cougars lead 38-37, trailed by as many as 14 points in that first half. Benedictine dominating the majority of it. The Cougars able to go on a run at the end, come back into this game. They lead by 1. Headed into the first half, there's a couple important trends on the Cougars end. You look at those players, it's really interesting to see how that transpired tonight, because you've seen obviously some players have big names, but some other big names on Concordia's end be very quiet so far.
Yeah, Jacob Collicott, Concordia's leading scorer throughout the season, who averages 21 points a game. He's got 3 on the night so far. He's played 15 minutes and he's got almost nothing to show for it. However, Joel Watts has been able to more than make up for that. He's got 15 points. That's the most out of anyone on either team. So he's managed to pick up the slack where Collicott's been in a bit of a slump, and he's been able to help give Concordia the lead.
Absolutely. Watts has been incredibly efficient on the court tonight. A big part of that, like you mentioned, that three-point shooting. And that goes part of this turbulence between these two teams. Turnovers and three-point shooting early on in this game. For Benedictine, it was all their way. The three-point shooting. They started 4 for 11 from beyond the arc. They were winning that turnover battle. You head to the end of the half. 0 for their last 9 from beyond the arc, and now they're even in turnovers. Both teams have turned the ball over 6 times. The Cougars have now turned it on from 3, 4 for 8 from beyond the arc, now 50%. 3 of those coming in the last couple of minutes. So very back and forth half between these two squads. Started out great for Benedictine, ended great for Concordia, and we're now pretty much even as we get ready to head into the second half now between these two squads. Concordia leading the Eagles 38-37. Both teams looking to take control and finish with control in this second half. We're going to step away for just a second. We'll be back in just a couple minutes for the start of the second half here on the Cougar Sports Network. And welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium for the second half of action between the Concordia Chicago Cougars and Benedictine University Eagles here in River Forest. CUC on top 38-37 over the Eagles. And they haven't been on top for much of this game, though. And it's hard to even say it was a back and forth first half either.
The half started, and it was Benedictine just stomping Concordia and starting to run away with it. And then the last 10 or so minutes, Concordia turned it right back to Benedictine and pulled a 1-point lead.
Benedictine will start the half with possession. Tanner Resch bringing it down the court. And that one will get slung off the leg of Sean Beckman. So reset here for Benny. Pat Mayfield out on the arc. Now Resch looking for a lane. Over to McCoy. Driving baseline. And McCoy will get tagged with a travel. First possession, first turnover of the second half for Benedictine. We saw them start to turn the ball over more in that first half. Towards the end, that trend continues early on.
Yeah, right at the end of the first half, they had a 3-minute span with 4 turnovers, and they've already got 1 to start the second half. So,
and now Concordia tagged for 10 seconds in the backcourt as they bring it up the court and just seem to get caught a bit napping by the Benedictine press on that possession. So a turnover on Concordia's end. And that'll head back over to the Eagles. That one tapped out of bounds. So Tanner Resch will have to reset. Noah Mason comes over to inbound it. Swings it back over to Resch. Resch bringing it down, driving into the lane, facing contact from Darian Williams. Now has to put it over to LaPlante, and Nathan LaPlante will get tagged with a travel. LaPlante driving in for a shot. Took one too many steps before he put it up. So another turnover. Both teams just turning it over again and again early on in the second half.
Yeah, 2 possessions, 2 turnovers for Benedictine. That's not how you want to start the half.
Now Jacob Kolokot able to draw the foul on the baseline. That one tagged to Nathan LaPlante. That is LaPlante's third foul of the evening. First player on either team to reach 3. Now Darian Williams has it on the arc. Beckman to Watts. Back over to Williams. Williams from 3. No good off the front of the rim. So the rebound by Ryan Tucker. Noah Mason brings it down, lays it off to Pat Mayfield. Mayfield thought about driving it in, instead tries to swing it to Ryan Tucker, and Tucker just tapping it before it goes out of bounds. And Jordan Townsend, his team hasn't lost any ground, but he doesn't want to run that risk. Both teams playing sloppy to start this half, and Jordan Townsend, the first head coach, to call a timeout and try to get his team to get it together.
Yeah, calling a timeout less than a minute and a half into the second half. Definitely not what Townsend's plan was at halftime, but he's having to improvise because you just be happy that Concordia hasn't been able to do anything on their part off the Benedictine turnovers, and it's still only a 1-point deficit for the Eagles.
And it is only a minute and a half into the game. For being honest, from both of these teams, we saw the majority of the scoring in this game done in the last 5 minutes of this first half.
Oh, yeah.
These two teams, they're able to go on big runs very quickly, but a slow start in this half for both teams. Obviously, good news for both that neither has really gotten off to a fast start. Better news for Concordia because that's really what we saw bite them in that first half. They had a very slow start. Benedictine did not on the game as a whole. Now, both teams struggling early on, but it's possession Cougars after the tip ball out of bounds. Joel Watts will inbound it. Press defense again from the team down in Lyle. Kolokot swings it over to Watts. That'll break the press. Now Watts facing contact. Back to Williams. 120 now on the shot clock.
Yeah, while both these teams can go on runs, they can also go on big droughts where they can't hit any of their shots.
Now Kolokot looking to drive it in. Over to Watts from 3. That one is very short. It's picked up by Williams. Back out to Watts. Long 3 from Watts is good! Joel Watts misses the easy 3, makes the hard 3, and the Cougars strike first in the second half. A high arcer from Joel Watts. It's a 41-37 point game. And Ryan Tucker had the opportunity to drive but slipped and loses possession. And heat check from Joel Watts is no good. Rebounded by Darian Williams. Rebound and put back from Jacob Collicott.
First time you've said his name in a while when it comes to scoring. He's been pretty low-key in the first half, but he's got 2 points, so maybe he'll be able to get back to his normal form here in the second half.
And Noah Mason able to draw the foul from Riker Johnson off the ball around the paint. So that'll be tagged on the Cougars. That's on the floor, obviously. So possession, Benny down at the baseline. Tanner Resch to inbound as we see a bevy of subs. Cougars bench calling for the team and Jacob Collicott to wash the bench as the players finally understand what the foul call was. Inbound Pat Mayfield. Mayfield driving, one hand puts it up, and Mayfield will draw the foul.
And that's one thing that Benedictine's good at is hitting their free throws. They're shooting 100%. Only issue when it comes to that is they've only shot 6 of them.
But that's a very, very rough stretch from Riker Johnson, picking up his first 2 fouls of the night within 5 seconds of game clock.
Yeah.
Pat Mayfield's first free throw breaks that perfect streak. No good. High bouncer off the back of the rim, so it remains a 6-point game. As short stoppage, the official is telling Darian Williams to tuck his jersey in. Johnson. Second foul leading to this second free throw from Pat Mayfield, which he makes no sweat. Doesn't even move the net. So it's a 38-43 game now. Joel Watts gets it back down court, working on Hudson Parker. Now Jacob Collicott bringing it around, swinging it over to Williams. Over to Beckman, back to Watts. Johnson beyond the arc, swings it to Collicott, trying to work baseline. Over to Johnson, spinning to the backboard, just couldn't get enough on it. It's rebounded by the defense, so Benny bringing it down the court. Tanner Resch working on the far side. Pat Mayfield trying to find a way past Riker Johnson. Eventually he just drives into the paint, spins, and puts that up for a shot. And now Benny breaks 40. Bashan Beckman on a fast break, puts it up and gets the and one. Sean Beckman able to catch a lazy Benedictine defense, initiate the contact, and draw the foul.
And Benedictine coach Jordan Townsend is not happy about that call. He thought his guy was straight up.
That foul tagged to Pat Mayfield. So Beckman, chance for a 3-point play now, and he makes the free throw. Quick sub for the Cougars. Aaron Brown coming into the match for Riker Johnson.
And Benedictine might be a little bit concerned here. Mayfield's their leading scorer on the night, and he's already got 3 fouls. So that's something that they definitely have to watch out for.
Hudson Parker over to Meyer now. Mayfield working from the top of the key, trying to drive in. Just stops and puts up a shot. And Pat Mayfield on a heater right now. Doing a great job of starting to drive and then stepping back for the shot. 46-42 game. Darian Williams over to Collicott. Swings that into Brown. Brown back to Collicott. Collicott driving, and he gets the and one. Jacob Collicott draws the contact, floats it in for a bucket, and now a 3-point opportunity for the star on the Cougars, who you mentioned incredibly low-key first half. But he's off to a great start in this second half, already 4 points and a chance to make it 5.
Yep, more than double the points he had in the first half, and 4 minutes and change into this one. If he can get going, the duo of him and Watts, that could definitely cause Benedictine some trouble, especially as Mayfield's in foul trouble.
And it's 3-point play for Jacob Collicott. 49-42 game now in favor of the Cougars. Tanner Resch working down the near sideline. Swings it to Meyer. Over to Parker, now Pat Mayfield. Step back beyond the arc, now driving in, over to Parker. Parker now trying to drive down the baseline, over to Resch. Hesitates from three, now driving in, mid-range jumper, fadeaway is good. Both of these teams on fire from the field. The Cougars slowly pulling away with three-point plays. And now Joel Watts will drive into the paint and draw the foul. This time tagged on Hudson Parker. Already the fourth foul of the half. Tagged on Benedictine. The Cougars doing a magnificent job of drawing those fouls early on.
Well, that's something they struggled with in the first half. The Cougars got into the double bonus and were just able to keep shooting free throws. So while most of them didn't go in at first, they were still able to keep taking chances.
Now Aaron Brown, mid-range jumper is good. Neither of these teams can miss as the Cougars crack 50, 51-44 now.
Aaron Brown really showed up in the last game for Concordia against Aurora and with 11 points, and he's already got 7 tonight.
Three-point attempt from Pat Mayfield, no good. Breaks the field goal streak from either of these teams. Now Aaron Brown quickly moving it into Beckman, trying to work on Aiden Worth. Eventually tries to pass it low to Aaron Brown. Out to Willard, swings it to Watts, and now Joel Watts will slow this down. He's trying to slash into the paint, out to Willard. Now Willard from three, bangs it in! A.J. Willard again from downtown. And the Cougars have their largest lead of the night, 54-44. Noah Mason working in the far corner over to Meyer. Into the paint to Pat Mayfield. Now Mayfield, step back, fade away, knocks it in. Pat Mayfield from the mid-range has been lethal in this second half. The problem, though, Benedictine's scoring. They're not scoring fast enough. The Cougars are putting three-point play. Benedictine's two-point plays. Now Aaron Brown driving in, and that time just stood up by Noah Mason, who's going to try and press the fast break now. Mason, pass Watts!
Oh!
No good, went for the slam. And now that ball knocked out of bounds. A desperate lunge from Brett Meyer, and now Meyer down on the court, slow to get up as that one knocked the wind out.
Yeah, he got decked there.
And the Cougars have called a timeout. They'll have possession when we do not come back. Halftime out from CUC. Cougars lead by 8 in this second half. 4 for 5 on their last few shots from the field. And neither of these teams have really been able to miss in the last few minutes.
No. Concordia is 4 for their last 5. Benedictine has been hitting several shots in the last few minutes, but last 2 possessions they weren't able to make anything happen, and now it's Concordia ball with a chance to add to their lead.
Yeah, CUC now 6 for 13 for 3, 46.2 3-point percentage. Joel Watts 1 for 2 in the half. A.J. Willard 1 for 1. They've stayed hot from beyond the arc as well.
Yeah, they're 2 for 5 in this second half from 3, so they can keep them falling at that rate, then they could pull away.
Now Tallis Lowry lays that off to Sean Beckman, over to Joel Watts. Now Aaron Brown, chance to work down in the paint, working on Pat Mayfield. Driving baseline, can't get it past Mayfield. And now that'll get tagged with the foul on A.J. Willard. He's being a bit too aggressive on Pat Mayfield down on the baseline. So Willard's second foul of the night. Reset of possession for Benedictine. Brandon McCoy will inbound for the Eagles.
And one thing to look at is that Benedictine's leading scorer, Pat Mayfield, has 3 fouls. They've got another player with 3. Meanwhile, Joel Watts, leading Concordia scorer, he's got 0 so far, so they don't have to worry about him even getting close to foul trouble right now.
Tanner Resch puts that one over to Brett Meyer. Meyer, open paint, drives it in and gets it past A.J. Willard. Good vision from Brett Meyer to take advantage of the lapse in defense. Now Joel Watts Working on Brandon McCoy. Collicott not on the court for the Cougars right now. First time this half. Now Joel Watts slashing in, knocked out of bounds by Brandon McCoy at the baseline. So we'll say Cougars possession with 12 seconds left on the clock.
Plenty of time for the Cougars. They don't need to take a quick catch and shoot here.
Langendorf, quick handoff to Joel Watts. Watts moving back, backed up by Brandon McCoy. 3 left. Watts, long 3, no good off the back of the rim.
Yeah, that was good on Benedictine's defense there to keep the Cougars stuck to the perimeter and not able to get inside.
Tanner Resch quickly driving in, lays it off to LaPlante, and LaPlante draws the foul on Langendorf. That'll send LaPlante to the line. Cougars still have a 6-point lead. Haven't scored in 2.5 minutes. So still riding off of that heated streak they went on earlier, but Benedictine also has been relatively struggling to score in that stretch as LaPlante's first free throw makes it in.
Yeah, again, both these teams are very capable of going on big runs offensively, but they are also extremely capable of just going on 2+, 3+, 4+ minute scoring droughts.
Now Nathan LaPlante chance to go 2 for 2, and he does. Now 4-point game as Benedictine now breaks 50. Collicott back on the court, driving down, swings it back over to Tallis Lowry. Johnson trying to drive in on Pat Mayfield, can't get some open court. Now Langendorf gets it up and gets the shot. So the Cougars break their 3-minute scoring drought, and the 6-0 run from Benedictine.
And Langendorf gets his first points of the game, so he is officially in the scorers column. Everyone on the bench for Concordia right now has scored, with the exception of Riker Johnson.
Now long shot from LaPlante, but he draws the foul. A sloppy challenge from Carter Langendorf again, and it's going to be 3 attempts at the line for Nathan LaPlante. Chance to make it a 3-point game, all from the charity stripe.
And you don't want to do that because that 3 was not going in, so the foul there to
and it is an ugly first free throw attempt, airballed short.
Needs to put a little bit more juice on it to get it to the rim.
And that attempt also short off the front of the rim.
A little bit closer that time, but still needs more juice.
Nathan LaPlante, chance for a big 3-point play. Now looking to just get 1 out of it.
Make this at least a semi-productive possession.
Ooh. And he won't. 0 for 3 from the charity stripe. Collicott gets the rebound and will bring it down court for CUC. Working to the baseline. Lays it up off the bottom of the rib. Johnson there for the put back, no good. Collicott rebounds out to Beckman from downtown. No good off the front of the rim. Johnson falling back for the rebound. Draws the foul. That one should be tagged on Tanner Resch.
Yes. Yep.
So that'll be the Cougars' possession at the baseline. Darian Williams to inbound. That inbounded to Johnson. Johnson able to get it out to Beckman. Beckman trying to get it out to the perimeter, and he does. Now Collicott trying to spin his way into the paint. Back out to Johnson. Johnson gets tagged with the travel. Pressure from Noah Mason. And that's going to be a delay of game tagged on Riker Johnson for passing the ball away. And can't imagine the Cougars will be too happy with that one. It's a bit inconsistent from the officials, but inbounded to Tanner Resch. Resch working from a 6-point deficit quickly to Brett Meyer into the paint. LaPlante more into the paint to Tucker, who puts it up for the bucket. 52-56 now. Over to Collicott. Collicott just driving in. Little floater, no good. And he manages to get the rebound, trying to get back up to the rim. Facing contact again, and finally able to draw the foul.
Yeah.
So Collicott, a fighting possession there, missed his first shot. Gave it all just to get the rebound and eventually draw the foul from Ryan Tucker.
Concordia's 0 for the last 4, 1 for the last 8. They got to start landing some of their shots on offense because Benedictine's cut this to just a 4-point game.
Yongguo puts it into Collicott, and Collicott sees the hoop, tries to get up there, and it's stripped by Noah Mason. Great defense from Mason. And now Tucker just ugly on that one. Noah Mason sets up a great possession and just upset, honestly upset with his own team. He's trying to understand, talk to Tanner Resch and understand what happened, because Ryan Tucker just fumbled it, and then Tanner Resch just tried to interfere, and it caused a mess, and the ball ends up out of bounds.
Yeah, it looked like Resch had a plan and Tucker had a plan, and they were not the same plan, and now Concordia's got the ball back.
Yongguo working, sends it to Collicott. Now Lowry sees a lane, tries to drive it in, back out to Williams. Williams now working the paint. Floater, very short. I think that was tipped by LaPlante. Now Resch trying to push the pace. Ryan Tucker, no good from 3. Rebounded by Pat Mayfield. Good rebound. Now Resch trying to drive it in again. Mayfield calling for ISO on Lowry. Step back 3, no good, short. LaPlante lunging in for the rebound.
Concordia players didn't even try to go up for the rebound that time. They just let LaPlante take it.
Now Noah Mason trying to work in the paint on Yongguo, and Mason able to draw the foul, which I believe is on Yongguo. So Noah Mason will head to the line. Noah Mason on a great run in this last stretch. On not really any points produced, but he's got a steal, what should have been an assist. Another great play down in the paint to draw a foul as he heads to the bench to catch a breather. Tanner Resch inbounds, that's tipped. Straight back to Tanner Resch, though, so good heads-up play from Ryan Tucker, but then a bad pass from Resch. Lowry trying to keep the pace up. Deeks, his defender, and able to draw the foul on Brett Meyer for a slap and head to the line.
And Concordia is at their second 2+ minute scoring drought this half. And as we enter the last 10 minutes of this half, they got to start breaking those droughts.
Yeah, and the good news for having a 2+ minute scoring drought is somehow you do still have the lead.
Yes.
And Lowry makes his first free throw to break that drought. Cougars back to a 5-point lead, hoping to make it 6 here. As the freshman will put up his second shot, and it is good. Talis Lowry makes it a 58-52 game. Benedictine looking to respond. Resch working on Lowry. We've seen a lot of mistakes out of Benedictine recently. And Resch has a lane into the paint for a layup. Absolutely cooking Talis Lowry on that possession.
You left him in the dust.
So Lowry working on the near sideline. Goes around the pick set by Brown. Into the paint now. Floats it up, and good. Talis Lowry, 4 points in the last minute for the freshman. And it's 60 points now for CUC. 6-point lead again, 60-54.
And they get their first field goal in almost a full 3 minutes, so interesting.
And Tanner Resch able to draw the contact from Lowry. A good play from Resch will send him to the free throw line. As the Cougars make another sub. Collicott out of the game for Joe Watts.
Didn't look like there was a lot of contact there, but there was enough done by Resch to get the refs to call it.
Now Resch first free throw is good, so the 1-for-1 with the bonus will get the second. Resch chance to make it a 4-point game again, and he will do so. 60-56, Noah Mason back into the game for Aiden Wirth. So Lowry, double defended. Quick pass to Willard. Beckman driving in. Easy layup for Sean Beckman. Benedictine left two high defenders, and it cost him.
And Concordia had a bit of a scoring drought. They've scored on their last 3 straight possessions, so if they turn on the Jets like they did at the end of the first half, Benedictine might want to watch out.
But Benedictine has been able to keep pace. Now Noah Mason trying to work on Watts. Does work on him. And his pass to Brett Meyer is unsuccessful. Meyer unable to reel it in. Now Watts swings it over to Beckman. Lowry driving into the paint. Steps back out. Lays it off to Watts. Now Watts trying to lob it in for Brown. And Brown able to draw a foul.
Looked like Meyer thought Brown was going to go up for it, and so when Brown just stayed planted, Meyer went over him.
I'll send Aaron Brown to the line now. 1-for-1 opportunity with the bonus. First shot's up and in. 63 now for CUC. Chance to get to 64. And that's something that Benny's going to be kicking themselves for right now. The Cougars did struggle for a good bit in this half.
Yeah.
And they were unable to capitalize on it. The Cougars, now with that shot, the Cougars back to an 8-point lead. Benedictine could have gotten back into the lead of this game. The Cougars didn't score for 3 minutes, and they were unable to.
It's just been some sloppy gameplay by Benedictine where they've just been hurting themselves. It hasn't been necessarily stellar defense. It's just been miscommunication between Benedictine players.
And that right there, Aaron Brown a bit confused as he gets called on the foul. Pat Mayfield working on Brown, able to draw it. So Mayfield will head to the line now. Pat Mayfield, his second trip to the line tonight. 1 for 2 in his first trip. Hits the first shot in this one. Nathan will plant back into the game for Brett Meyer. Mayfield's second free throw is up and good. So 2 for 2 from the line. Makes it a 6-point game. Cougars still lead 64-58. Talis Lowry will bring it down court for CUC.
And last few possessions been very productive for CUC, so they're hoping to replicate that right here.
Lowry looking to slash in, steps back out to Watts, over to Willard. Now Willard working into the paint, looking for a man, gets Lowry. Beckman, Watts. Nice pass into Beckman, unable to get it in the hoop, though, on the layup. And now Benedictine with a chance to work quickly. Resch driving in on Willard, and he draws the and one. Tanner Resch, big play out of this team's star. And Resch is slow to get up. He took a fall at the end of that shot as he looks to work his legs out and move back to the free throw line. Bit banged up. No worse for wear. So Tanner Resch, chance for a three-point play, chance to make this a three-point game, chance to capitalize on a couple Cougar mistakes as the shot is up, and it is good. 64-61. Cougars lead by 3 with 6:40 remaining as a timeout's called down on the court. Halftime out from Benedictine. The Cougars haven't exactly been dominant. They haven't exactly been good recently. Benedictine, they're slowly closing in this gap. I mean, it looked like the Cougars got it back under control, had an 8-point gap, but now we're on a 5-0 run the way of the Eagles.
Yeah, every time it looks like the Cougars are going to go on a big run and pull away from Benedictine, Benedictine manages to force some turnovers, force some bad shots, and then go down and convert themselves.
So Joel Watts down at the baseline puts that into Jacob Collicott. So this Cougars team back to 4, their 5 starting lineup. Then A.J. Willard replacing Riker Johnson out of that starting 5. Johnson, he struggled tonight and is currently on the bench. Now Willard over to Collicott. Now Collicott thought about driving and said he'll give it back to Willard. Now Watts driving in, out to Collicott. Open 3, bangs it in, and that is a needed 3. Responding to the and 1 play, Jacob Collicott breaks into double digits finally. And the Cougars back to a 6-point lead. Tanner Resch coming to the near sideline, working down the baseline, gets it out to McCoy. McCoy now driving into the paint, puts that up on Willard, no good. Mayfield able to get the rebound. Long pass out to Noah Mason, and the Eagles will reset their offense. LaPlante to Resch. Now back out to Resch. Resch, fade away on the near side. No good, rebound Collicott. Long possession from Benedictine ends up in the Cougars' favor. The Cougars won't complain about that. Williams now running in on the baseline. Back out to Watts. Over to Collicott. Now Willard on the perimeter. Driving in. He'll put this one up. No good. Rebound. Brandon McCoy. Now, that's a long shot from McCoy. Short 3 off the front of the rim again. McCoy has struggled badly from beyond the arc. He's put up a couple threes. None of them have been close tonight. Now Watts working down the near side.
And that last possession, it looked like Townsend wanted Resch to keep the pace up. They had a 4-on-5 advantage, and instead he kind of slowed it down.
Now Beckman out to Williams. Williams pumps 3. Over to Willard, pumps the 3, driving baseline, trying to get it in there. Out to Collicott, another open 3. That shot called off, shot clock violation. So the Eagles force a violation out of 4.5 minutes remaining in this game. Cougars lead 67-61.
And this is the theme of Benedictine recently. They play all their games close. Even they've been on a 3-game losing streak. They lost those 3 games by a grand combined total of 15 points.
Yeah, and Benny's going to need a couple shots here, try and get themselves into this one. Resch, 3. Spot up 3, and a messy rebound from the Cougars, but it is rebounded.
Yes.
By the Cougars, taking it down the court. Watts over to Collicott. And as the Cougars capitalize on what's now a 2.5 minute scoring drought from Benedictine, hasn't let the Eagles close in. Collicott slowly making his way in. A great pass into Aaron Brown, who puts it up. Jacob Collicott getting it done as a facilitator, and it's now back to an 8-point lead. Mayfield facing a lot of pressure, gets it to Meyer, over to Tucker. Tucker back out. Now Meyer thought about the 3. He'll step back out.
And it seems like Benedictine's, besides the last Resch possession, is hesitant to shoot 3s.
And there it is. Finally, Ryan Tucker able to get a layup up. Slow possession from Benedictine. Now under 3.5 minutes to go. Back to a 6-point game.
And they really got to start going for turnovers here, because if they keep playing their slow-paced game, which Concordia is happy to imitate right now, then they might not end up just not having enough time.
A lot of pressure on Collicott. Long pass over to Willard. Corner 3. No good. Rebounded by LaPlante. Tanner Resch. He needs to get this out of there on the press. Over to Tucker's. Got to go quickly. Gets it down to Brett Meyer. Meyer straight across. Over to LaPlante. LaPlante couldn't get past Brown on the baseline. Shot clock halfway burned. Now Meyer looking for an option. High pass to Mayfield. 5 left on the shot clock. Mayfield, turnaround jumper, no good. Rebounded by Meyer. Up to Mayfield. Gets it up and 1. Pat Mayfield, a big play. And now an opportunity for 3 and to close this gap again.
Just when it seems like Concordia's on the verge of maybe pulling away, Benedictine's right back there to get a 3-point play and keep themselves in this game.
Game day crew gets a sweat off the court real quick. And now Pat Mayfield, chance to make this a 3-point game. Shots up and good. 69-66, Cougars lead. And Jordan Townsend will call a full timeout. He'll take the opportunity to get his team together, and we'll take what will likely be our last break here on the Cougar Sports Network before the final 2.5 minutes of this game. We'll be back in just a moment for more Wednesday night basketball action. And welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium. 2.5 minutes to go in the game. Cougars lead by 3, 69-66. Benedictine on a 5-0 scoring run. Looking to extend that scoring run. Cougars looking to end it. Watts working on Meyer, now slashing in. He's going to trip and fall and get tagged for the travel. Joel Watts got a bit ambitious with the slash and lost his footing. And he gingerly makes his way back across the court. Opportunity again. Now within one possession for Benedictine. Really want to score here. Resch, quick pass to Meyer. Meyer, baseline pass to Mason. Back out to Meyer. Over to Mayfield. Mayfield, 20 points on the game. He's been carrying this team in this second half. Resch, back into Mason. Swings it over to Tucker from 3. Bang! Ryan Tucker ties this game up at 69. And Benedictine, for the first time in this half, is not trailing.
Yeah, and that's the first 3 that Benedictine's hit in a long time. There was a period where they just stopped shooting them, but when they shoot them now, they got it to tie the game.
Collicott, 3 of his own, misses. Mayfield with the rebound. Cougars, 2-minute scoring drought of their own. Minute and a half to go now in the game. And now Tanner Resch, content to take his time. We're all knotted up, 69-69. Resch now slashing in. Over to Tucker. Another corner 3 and another make for Ryan Tucker. 3. And Ryan Tucker has given his team the lead, 72-69. That's going to force a timeout from Rashawn Searles, but Ryan Tucker, slow start to the game today. Didn't do much in the first half, but he has single-handedly given his team the tie and the lead here in half number 2.
Yeah, he got that first 3, and then next time down the floor thought, I'll just do it again. And you know what? He did. And now Benedictine's got their first lead of the half. And Concordia's got to figure out what to do in this last 68 seconds to either come back and take the lead and win or at least force overtime.
An 11-0 run for Benedictine in the last 2.5 minutes. Cougars haven't scored in almost 3. Again, we saw this early on in this game. This has pretty much been how the entire game's been. Neither team has really been able to do what the other team's doing. When one team's succeeding, the other team is struggling. There's been moments where we've seen both teams struggling. One stretch where we saw both teams succeeding, but those are rare stretches. And here it is again, the Cougars struggling. Benedictine absolutely thriving on offense. 11-0, 3 for 3 from the field on their last stretch. And now the Cougars on the back foot with just over a minute to go.
Yeah, and this is a little bit worrying for the Cougars team as a whole. We saw this in the Aurora game Saturday. They had a 9-point lead in the last 2 minutes, and it ended up being a 3-point lead where Aurora had the chance to tie. So they've been having some issues closing out games this season, and this is just continuing that trend.
Nice pass from Colacott to Beckman. Now Watts slashing in, steps back out to Beckman. Colacott now working on the perimeter, drives in, puts it up and blocked by Noah Mason, who got up there and swatted it down. Tanner Resch taking his time, trying to beat the press, and is able to draw the foul from Tallis Lowry.
And Resch is 5 for 5 from the line so far tonight. So, not to jinx him or anything, but if he hits these two, that makes it a 2-possession game with 40 seconds left. That could be difficult for Concordia to come back from.
Tanner Resch at the line now for Benny. Chance to make it a 2-possession game. Shots up and rattles it in. 73-69 as you see the Cougars going to their ideal lineup. Beckman, Willard, Watts, Williams, Colacott.
And the Cougars on the verge of their first home loss of the season. They're sending in all the best to try to find a way to somehow pull this out.
And Resch makes it a 5-point game. That's something that actually is a difference between Resch and Colacott. Resch is phenomenal from the three-point line. And another block! Pat Mayfield says absolutely not. And a quick move down to Meyer. And a mistake. Sloppy rushed offense from Benedictine. A chance to almost close this game out, but the Cougars will get possession back. 27 seconds remaining. Cougars have to go quickly as they trail by 5. Watts puts up a 3, a little spinning 3, no good. Colacott, putback's no good. And now the Cougars will have to foul.
And at this point, the late foul is not ideal for the Cougars. If Tucker can hit both these free throws, if Mason can hit both these free throws here, that makes it a 3-possession game, and this game would be out of reach by then.
As Mason puts up that free throw, makes it a 6-point game as you look over to a now empty student section that's finally cleared out, a Cougar student section that's all too familiar with seeing its teams blow late leads here in Geisman Gymnasium.
Yeah.
Noah Mason chance to make it a 7-point game, and he will not. Colacott rebound, has to go quickly. Gets down. Gets it over to Willard. Willard driving in. This is a long possession, and it's going to end up in no points for CUC. 8.7 remaining as now Brett Meyer will head to the line.
Kind of question the decision-making there. You're down 6. You need 3-pointers, so driving the lane isn't going to do you a whole lot. It would still have been a 2-possession game with 10 seconds left. So, yeah, they needed to shoot a 3 there, and they weren't able to.
Ryan Tucker at the line. Misses his first free throw, so it'll stay a 6-point game. Stays a 2-possession game, but a tough 2-possession game. As you see, both Pat Mayfield and Tanner Resch staying back, preventing that Cougar rush. Another missed free throw, and lazy rebounding from the Cougars. That is going to end the game. Rebounded by Brett Meyer. Tanner Resch will run the clock out, and the Cougars will end this game on a 4-minute scoring drought. And as you hear drops of Jupiter begin once again in Geisman Gymnasium, it's Benedictine who takes it 75-69 here in River Forest, handing the Cougars their first home loss of the 2024-2025 season.
Yeah, at the 4-minute point, with 4 minutes left in this game, Cougars were up 8. They had hit a lot of consecutive shots, and then they just stopped hitting them. It's like there was like a shield over the net that just stopped shots from going in. Obviously, Benedictine had several good blocks on back-to-back possessions, and then they, in turn, were able to go down and go on a 14-2 run over those last 4 minutes. And yep, drops the Jupiters will.
And a game that was dominated early on by Benedictine. Cougars claw back into it. Ends up being dominated at the end in the final stretch by Benedictine. We'll run through a couple of your key stats as we close out this game. And your two stars on the Eagles' end, Tanner Resch, Pat Mayfield, your stars of the night. Pat Mayfield leading scorer for either team. 20 points on the night for the big man, Tanner Resch, putting up 19 of his own. It was Resch who really did the work in closing that game out late. While on the Cougars' end, leading scorer Joel Watts, 18. Jake McCullough, who struggled for most of the night, ending still in double digits with 11. Aaron Brown also finishing with another 11 points off of the bench. So decently efficient game for Aaron Brown once again. Leader in three-pointers made. A couple of guys with 2 on either teams, but Joel Watts, 4 for 10 from beyond the arc. Again, he had that electric stretch at the end of the second half. Wasn't able to get it done in the end of the first half. Wasn't able to get it done in the second half. Leader in assists for the Cougars, also Joel Watts with 4. Tanner Resch, 4 of his own over on Benedictine's end. But Benedictine is the team that comes out on top, 74-75 over CUC. They move up to 3-3 in conference play within the NAC. The Cougars drop to 3-4. Now Benedictine will head back on the road this weekend. January 11th, Saturday, they're headed up north to Mequon. They're going to look to complete a Concordia sweep, taking on the Concordia University Wisconsin Falcons this Saturday. The Cougars also go on the road as they'll look to get back into the win column in Lakeland, looking to take on the Muskies, pick up a win down there, and get back to 500 in conference as they've now dropped to 3-4. But that'll do it here at Geisman Gymnasium on Wednesday night. Cougars fall for the first time at home this season, 69-74 to the late push of Benedictine. A 14-0 run to close this game out from the Eagles. They'll go home happy. The Eagles will head back to their dorm rooms disappointed tonight. As that'll do it here on the Cougar Sports Network. I'm Jonathan Shear. With me on air tonight was Eric Perry. And that'll do it here on the Cougar Sports Network. Thank you to everyone who helped make this possible. And as always, roll Cougs.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.